Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made these cards, which I'm calling window double flap card. There's one flap, two flaps, and the card is inside like that. And this one is my second one that I did. I wasn't totally happy with all this plainness around here, so I embossed this front using the Ornate Floral embossing folder, which comes as part of the Ornate Garden suite. But I think that this design is a bit too fussy for everything else I've got going on there. So for the video I'm going to be using the Subtles embossing folder. I've seen several of the videos already showing how to make this. One of the changes I've done is the magnet there. If I repeat myself, you have to forgive me because this is take 3. One of the things I don't like about this is because my cutting mats are so very, very well used, it's got little like scratch marks, if you like, around the hole. Now I could make one of these to go around there to cover it up, but I'm going to be trying a little experiment on the video. If it doesn't work, then later on I will go back and put one of these on, but I will tell you what sizes you need if you want to do that. I'm going to tell you first of all the cardstock that you're going to need and the DSP, and then I'm going to go through the stamp set and the dies, embossing folder and things like that, so that I don't have to worry about those, because I have my big shot in front of me today, because it's a question of bringing it down and then putting it back and bringing it down. So I hope that I've got myself set up properly here. The colour that I'm going to be using is Petal Pink. So you need, and I will put the metric measurements in the box below the video. So the card base measures 5 3/4 inches by 8 1/4, scored and folded at 4 1/8. Then you need another piece of Petal Pink, which measures 5 3/4 by 4 3/8. And you also need 2 pieces of Whisper White, and these should measure 5 1/2 inches by 3 7/8 inches. Then you need a piece of Designer Series paper, which I'm using the light, brights, no, subtle 6x6 Designer Series paper pack, and I'm going to use the side that's got the script on it, and that should measure 5 3/8 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And then you need, for this edging here, the die that's going to be used, I will be using, is this one here. I'll show you where it comes from in a jiffy. Now you could actually cut a whole square and then just take that one and that one, but because I always save my little scraps like this, I found 2 that are 1/2 inch wide, so I'm just going to be doing that for 2 of them. Okay, so if you keep yours, if you've got 1/2 inch strips, 2 of those, otherwise you need a piece that'll be big enough for this, which I think is, was it 4 inches? Yes, about 4 1/4 inches by, say, 3 1/4 inches. I'll come to that one in a moment though. This is 3 inches by 3 inches, which is for this circle. And then you need scraps for the flowers. Now with mine, I found in my scrap bin a couple of pieces of embossed Whisper White that I had prepared for another project but never actually used. So I'll be using those. That's for this one here. And I think that's probably it, isn't it? Right, okay. So, oh, also I have made myself, oh no, let's tell you the stamp sets first, then I can tell you those. Right, the stamp set I'm using is called Beautiful Friendship, which is being carried forward to the new catalogue. And I'm using that stamp and that, Birthdays Are the Best Days, and those leaves there. I might use that little one like I did on here, or might not. It depends what it looks like in the pink. Okay, so the jury is out on that one. The embossing folder I'm using is the Subtles. Again, that's being carried forward. And then 2 sets of dies, the layering circles, and I am going to be using the scalloped circle number 7. So that is, I always start counting mine, the smaller the die, smaller the number. So I start with the smallest with number 1, that's number 2, number 3, 4, 5. I've done that wrong, haven't I? It should be there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's because I've got the other one out, isn't it? 6, 6, 7. That's number 7. I confuse myself at times. Right, so these two are 4 and 5. So that's number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so those two fit very snugly together. And then that one fits. So you've got quite a gap to do the scalloped frame around there. So there's the layering framelets. The reason I've got this one out is if I wanted to do no, that's that one. Yeah, that one, the smaller one, is the one that I would need if I wanted to do a scalloped circle around here. Okay, so it would be that one and the small one here. Okay, so you see that just fits. That should be better if I fit it over like that, wouldn't it? Okay, so then that would be there. I'll put the die numbers in the box below. So let's move that one out of the way because I'm not planning to use it. So that's those. This one I've already shown you, and this comes from the Stitched So Sweetly dies, and it's the largest one on here. If you don't have these dies, what you could use, any punch that does anything like this. For example, this is from this punch, which will be retiring. But if you've got anything like that, that will just fit under there, that will work. So that's those. Let's move those out of the way. I'm using this die, which is the small bloom punch. It's a punch, not a die. And this is the one that was available as a gift during celebration, which I'm really pleased to say is going to be available in the new catalogue. So that's what I'll be using for my flowers. That is that. So I think we can make a start. If I put those out of the way. Oh, what I was going to say to you is I also made these, which are masks. They were quite easy to fussy cut. And it just makes, it was this one here that I fussy cut. Oh, and that one, that's the one in the centre. It just makes it so much easier to be able to stamp leaves, so the leaves appear to be behind the flowers. So that's well worth doing. And once you've done them, you can use them several times. So we have this piece, which is our normal regular card. And then we have this one, which is a bit wider. If I lay that one on there, you can see I've got that little bit there. So what we need to do to start off with is to score that at 1/2 inch. So put the, what was that, 4 3/8 I think, wasn't it? Yes, put the 4 3/8 at the top, move it along to 1/2 inch, and then move the cutting blade out of the way. Make sure that's pushed up against the edge very nicely, and then score. Now with a pencil, if you move this edge up to number 2, up to 2 inches, make sure it's all pushed up against the edge again, and then draw a line in the cutting track at 2 inches. Alright, and then turn 90 degrees clockwise, and then measure this up at 2 7/8. That is the halfway mark. Once you've done that, line that pencil mark with that pencil mark into the cutting track. You're going to need to cut that corner off. Right, move the scoring blade up there. And then do the same. That one into the cutting track and this one into the cutting track. There we go. And before I go any further, I'm going to use my eraser to take off the pencil marks. One thing I do like to do ahead of time is I like to adhere my designer series paper onto the white layer. The reason I like to do that is because while I'm working on the other bits, the glue on here can be drying, because I'm going to cut a hole in here, and it probably doesn't really matter if the glue is wet. It's just that I would prefer it to be a bit drier. And just a little squiggle across, because it's going to have a hole in the middle. Let's just stand my glue up. Let's see if I can pull that down a tad. That looks a bit better. Okay, so I'm just going to put that on the side to give it a chance to dry. And what I'm going to do with this first is I'm going to fold on that 1/2 inch line there. I'm going to give it a really good burnish. Now I have seen this card made with this bit so that you either get the join down the back there, or the join just under here. I've decided I prefer to have my join at the back there. Now I need to cut a hole in there. So this is the first bit for my big shot. Now this is going to be a little bit strange for me because I've got the handle pointing right towards me for me to actually turn it around. So let's have a look. As you can see how very well used these are. That's why I get all the scratch marks at the bottom. Now let's move that along a little bit. What you need here is the larger of these two dies. Okay, so I've taken the bigger one. I'm going to position that sort of centre from here to here. But I'm going to just pop that on to make sure that I'm not going too close here so that this would come over the edge, or too close to this. I want it to be sensibly spaced. Okay, so I've got probably, I don't know, what's that, about 3/8 of an inch gaps all the way around. So that will do me nicely, happy with that. But please don't forget to take this one off before you start cutting. Trust me, it doesn't work if you leave it there. I tried it this morning. Oh goodness, was I cross with myself. Right, so we just crank this through. And that's the first one that I should have put some paper underneath. Let's see if I can get this up to you. Yes, very badly scratched. So save that circle, and the next thing I need to do for this is to emboss it. So let me just move this over for a jiffy, just give myself a bit of space. So what I'm going to do is I am going to spray this with water, because the embossing folder is one of our, oh, this is the subtle, isn't it? And I haven't brought the right platform over. Bear with me. So what have I done with that platform? Oh no, the platform's right, isn't it? It's the... Oh, I didn't need to bother about doing that. Never mind. Right, so let me just spray this. Not everybody does use the water spray on their 3D or subtle embossing folders. The reason we were told to do it was because it helps the fibres to break down rather than your paper cutting, or yeah, it did really cut, didn't it? Because it's such a deep emboss. Right, now that you've got your fold there, where it's got either Stampin' Up or the Sizzix mark, that is the actual front of the die. So what I'm going to do, I can either have my stripes going, oh, that'd be down, or going across. I have mine going down, I think, on this. So I'm going to line my fold on the edge here, and as you know, all these score lines, they have a tiny width to them. So what I'm doing is I am making sure that the edge of my score line is on the edge of the folder. If I misjudge it by doing it like this, I might finish up with a plain gap all the way down, which if I do, I don't mind as long as it is the same gap all the way down. Right, I think that looks good. I'll go down a bit because I've come off of the embossing bit there. So that's okay. And that's okay. I can't do it like that, can I? Because of, I'll have to put this through sideways, this one. Okay, let me show you that. You know, I'm always telling you, when you put your embossing folders through, you should always put the fold through your machine first. But obviously I can't, because this is wider than 6 inches. So this time I'm going to do it that way. Where's my... Oh, let's use this. To do this occasionally, I really don't think it'll do it any harm, but it's not the best way of doing it. down there out of the way. Ah, that's fine. Okay, so if I fold that now, it's gone right to the edge. Nothing's gone over the other side. It's just the fold line there. Okay, so that's that bit done. Let's move this out of the way while I have a think what's got to be done next. Normally your card would open like this, from the right to the left, but this time we're going to turn it around this way so it opens that way. If you find that one side of your card sticks out a bit more than the other, which this one does an absolute tad, put the one that sticks out furthest at the back. Okay, so that's what's going to be happening. We're going to be putting that bit on there, and then we're going to be putting that bit on there. So we need to cut a hole out of this one. Right, so I'm just trying to remember which way we do this. That's how we've got to do this. You put that there, make sure it's lined up properly, top and bottom, and then as you come over with your pencil, draw a circle. Now that circle fits the outside of this smaller die, not this one, okay? I'm using the smaller one. So you need to do your cutting like that. But this is where I find I get all the scratches. So what I'm going to do is, I've got some computer paper here. I'm going to take 2 layers of it, and I'm going to put that under there while I put it through the cutter. So put it through the big shot. So if I put this on here, put that so that I've got my 2 pieces of paper underneath. Make sure they stay together and don't go walkabouts. If I keep them like that, then I know I can see that they are in the right place. Okay, so put that so you can't see any of the pencil mark. That looks good. So I'll bring my big shot back again. Pop that on there. My other cutting mat, let's bring that one back. It's a little bit tougher to crank through with the extra couple of pieces of paper in there, but it's not so much that I need to stand up and put a bit of effort behind it. It's still scratched on there, so I'm definitely going to do the other scalloped edge around that. I'll whether I do it on the video or not depends how long the video takes. Right, now we've got this one done, what we need to do is, now that's going to be covered up, so I'm not worried about that. Now this is going to be going on here. So just position that. Now hold that without moving. Turn it over and then draw another circle. So you now need to cut the circle there, and that is going to be the smaller one. So you've got your pencil line inside your circle. So you should see the pencil line more or less all the way round. Let me just bring the Big Shot back again. Okay, so there's that one. That's almost everything that we need to do. That's right, that goes over there. So I'm going to put that on my card front now, on my flap rather. A little bit around the circle as well. Now cover the hole first and then look at your edges to make sure that you are straight, and turn it over to make sure you're straight there as well. So that's fine. This one I think we can add on now. So what I do is I use Tombow. You can use our tear and tape at this stage for this one, but I certainly wouldn't use snail. I don't put too much on because you don't want it oozing out anywhere. So what you should find now, once that's all lined up nicely there and there, give it a chance to adhere nicely, and then you have this. Okay, I wonder if I can get some extra Whisper White to do the other circles. I'm going to put one on here, I'm going to do one there as well. That side's okay because that's embossed and you can't really see it there. So this wasn't planned, it was an idea. I thought I might finish up doing this. So I hope it works. I shouldn't really experiment like this during a video. But hey ho, I'm amongst friends, aren't I? So I'm going to do one like that. And then I'm going to come back and do another one. Oh, and I also got to do one for the front, haven't I? The bigger one. There we go, so that's one. Two, let's put this one in. That circle's moving a bit. So that's the second small one. So that can go there, keep that one there. And one big one. So put those two away. Bring back the bigger circle. And I did bring a piece of paper for that, didn't I? Yep, there we go. That was the 3 by 3 inch piece that I said that you'd be needing. That's rubbish, don't need that. And that's a big one. Another circle. Right, while I'm here, I'm also going to do these two strips. These should be 1/2 inch if you're going to do it the same way as me. And these are just out of my scrap box, because I do tend to save my offcuts. I find them very useful for when I want to do sentiments and odd jobs like this as well. Whoops. There we go, that's that one. That's rubbish. And this one. There we go, that's the second one. Now I do think that that is probably all I need the big shot for. I'll move that over there. So let's bring all the bits back. So I am going to do that one there and one there as well. As I say, this wasn't actually planned, it was just an idea. I do like it when an idea comes together. See, nobody would know. And one for the front as well. So hopefully that will close it up. Oh, that's right, that's why I wasn't on this one here. I'd put an extra bit round here, and I put the Highland Heather scallop circle round there first, but when I closed it I lost the dots on there, so I put another one round there with the dots on it, so you could see the dots through. But now I've only got white there, but I'm not changing it. I am going to leave that. Yes, I'm happy with that. Now the next one we need to do is our piece that's going to be going on here. So what we do is we line this up, close that one, get our pencil, draw a circle. Now we know where we can do our stamping. So first of all I'm going to use the little flower. I'm using Petal Pink. Don't do that. I put my stamp in the wrong ink. As you can see I was using black. Right, how far down can I come? Right, okay. Okay, so I'm just going to do that right in the centre. Just give the ink enough time to go onto your cardstock. And there we go, that's fine. Now I'm going to use my mask. I will close the wrong colour up and get my Pear Pizzazz. I've still got to do those little bits as well, haven't I? So we'll have the leaves. Now I'm going to try not to come out of the circle. Oops. That's because it's still a bit damp, because I've used this a few times today. This would be perfectly okay to use several times, but it should be allowed to dry in between times. As you can see, it's a bit damp now from what I'm doing. And it does want to stand up, or at least come off. Okay, so there you go, you've got all the leaves coming round the back. Now with this one, this is the big one, I'm going to stamp that down here, but I've got to make sure that the top of this doesn't come over the circle. So let's close that one up. Give that plenty of ink. Now I need to bring this down quite a bit. Oops. Right, I should be able to centre that without interfering with that circle up there. There we go. Isn't that a beautiful stamp? So my next mask, so that I can put some leaves on here as well. When you make these masks, it is better if you can cut away a little bit of the ink. Like I've got a little bit of the, I can see my stamp underneath there. And that's because when you stamp this onto a ridge, there's normally a gap. And just do two on the other side as well. I am trying not to come off the edge. It makes the leaves look quite short, but that's okay. So that one. There we go, it's beautiful. Really lovely. Happy with that. So now I need the sentiment. So I'm going to do that in Petal Pink. I hope it shows up enough. Let's bring this down again. I know that I've got to erase that circle there. Well, let me bring this down a bit further. Because we're in lockdown, my hair really does need doing. And I don't think you need to see how bad it is, do you? Now this may be crooked. Oh, maybe it should be straight. Right, I don't think I'll do that extra little stamp around. I think I quite like it is. So let me get rid of this circle. Looks like I've got little bits of green here. Maybe I will go over with that other little stamp. I'll wait and see what it looks like all together. Right, okay. I'm going to adhere this into here. Isn't this a beautiful colour? I love this petal pink. I didn't when I first saw it, I have to say. I just didn't think that it's pink enough. There we go. So there we are. Beautiful, isn't it? Now what I did about the flowers, as I showed you these, or maybe that was part of the other video. In fact, no, let's do this bit first. I'm going to adhere these. So the way I did this, I just put, this is on the inside of my card, okay? And I just put a very, very thin line of Tombow all along there. And then I lined this up so that I had this coming over this end, this coming over this end, and then this lining up just below that line of stitching. Fortunately with Tombow you do get a little bit of time to manoeuvre this, and then when you're happy, press it down and then cut those bits off. And when you put this one on, line it up so that you get the circle at the top there. It will look like a continuous piece until you look at it really closely, and then you can tell. But it's really very good, it works really well. So Tombow right down the edge this side and up onto the white piece this time. And I've still got to do the magnets, I know that. Right, so first of all I'm going to try and get that bobble lined up with the stitching there. That could go down a bit. Okay, so my stitching is showing. Okay, so I'm going to push that down. So it really doesn't matter how wide your piece is. I say ½ inch because I think that's a good amount. Let's get that card out that I can't cut. Right, let's do it this way then. Wasn't my best, but never mind. Okay. So that's fine. Now, I had white flowers, didn't I? So where's my punch? And I wanted two for the front as well, didn't I? And they were all white. Did I do all white? I think I did. 1, 2. Yeah, okay. Right. I've got one double that I've made there because I'm running a little bit short on here. That's one. Two. Even though these two are going to be laying flat, I do like to give them a little bit of dimension by putting my pencil and making them curl up like that. This is a piercing mat from Stampin' Up, and just to give you a heads up, they are retiring this, so if you don't have one, do get an order one quickly. So this one's going to go on here first. That's going to have a diamond in the middle. So if you've got your pencil, if you've already pushed it down like that, which I have on these, it's quite easy to push that down so that it does actually stick. And now with my magnets, I don't know what size these are. I should really tell you in, you really need to know in centimetres. Okay, so they're 1 millimetre thick, and the width of them is 6 millimetres. Okay, so you need two of those. The first one I'm going to adhere on here, and I'm just doing it where those two pieces cross over. So you just need to give that a little while to dry, because you are going to put that one on top. And then that one goes like that. Okay, so just give it a bit of time. While I'm sitting here looking at it, I'm thinking I might do another circle in there so that I can have my writing. If you check out my blog tomorrow, which will be the 3rd of May 2020, there'll be a photograph of this and the other two, and you'll see whether I did actually change it or not. So there we go. Are you going to open for me? But the first one that I did with this, that blue one, I actually used Velcro, and I didn't think that was a good idea at all. Right, come on. Okay, well, you know where that's going to go because you can see the circle. Okay, the circle of the glue. If I wasn't making a video, I'd put this on one side and allow it to dry. Come on. Okay, so we've got these two flowers. Glue on the bottom. These are two that I gave a bit of shape to, but they will be flattened. Okay, so there's that. And there's that. Okay, so there we go. What do you think about that? There's a lot of toing and froing with the Big Shot, but I really think it's worth it. You've got somebody, oops, that came off. Come on, come back. That's it. It will stick and it won't take that long. But if you've got somebody special you want to send a card to, it's lovely. So there we go, all three. Actually, you can see the differences in what I've done, and you can pick and choose the bits that you like and the bits you don't like. Let's put that one there. Arrange the colours a bit better. So many thanks for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this project, and I really hope you give it a try. Oh, I can see what I've forgotten. Oh, sorry. I've forgotten my rhinestone in the middle of my flower. Let's choose a really nice sparkly one. There we go. Alright, you don't want to come off. You do. There we go. Then once that's dried, I will fluff it up like I fluff these up. Okay. In the box below the video, I put all the measurements. I put the metric ones as well. If I can find the American sizes, I'll put those below as well. If not, I'll give you a link to somebody else's website so you can go and visit that. If you have any questions to ask or any comments to make, please leave those in the box below the video. To access the video, you need to be watching... No, to access the box below the video, you need to be watching the video on YouTube. And what you will see is below, depends what device you're watching on a laptop or a computer, you will see on the left hand side it'll say show more. If you click on that, it'll open the box up. If you're watching on something like a mobile phone, there'll be an arrow on your right hand side. If you click on that, it will open up the box for you, and all the information you need will be in the box below. If you want to check out my daily blog, that's at www.janbcards.com. I normally share a new card that I've made every day. If you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to be notified each time I upload a new one, please click on the subscribe button down there in the bottom right hand corner. In the meantime, please take care, stay safe, stay well, and I look forward to seeing you next time. In the meantime, happy crafting. Cheerio.